Gentlemen, ladies. See, I got you there. You thought I was gonna say ladies and gentlemen. No. We're doing things backwards today. Hope you guys are doing good, feeling good, eating good, tasting good, man. I don't know, man. We got a lot of things planned today. But I don't know what. Gentlemen, ladies. Boys and girls. Homies and homettes. Welcome. Welcome. We're late today. I'm worthless. I'm worthless. We are late. I am late today. Wasn't my intentions. Maybe it was a little bit. Maybe it was a little bit. But nonetheless, we're going to get into this, man. We're going to get into this shit right now. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Bro he gotta weigh a little bit more than me. He gotta weigh a little bit more than me. And he's doing shit like that. Whole jawline could have been gone. You know what I'm saying? Could have been gone. Could have been like that Saw trap. Could have been like that Saw trap in Saw 3D. Is that which one it is? Saw 3D. Whole jawline structure could have been gone. Skull could have been right here in his chest cavity. You'd have been dead. I'm gonna be real with you guys, right? I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't know if we're not watching 19 minutes of this. We're not watching 19 minutes of this. That's ass. That's ass. 5 minutes max, bro.
Every baby one more time, my lonely mess
Kurwa, no, czy chuj. Dawaj. Dobrze.
Yes. That's sick. I gotta learn how to do that. That was big on that. I was trying to make you feel better. One slip could get with rain.
I made it!
Got you like a parkour. Honest with you guys, I'm not watching bullshit. I thought it was gonna be entertaining because I was watching a few videos today and I was like, you know what? This could actually be entertaining for me to watch on stream. Hell no. Turn this shit off. Let's go into the next video that we planned on watching, man.
Name something people say they never.
Bro, that's Corey from Corey's house. Corey in the White House. That what it was? Is that what it was called on Disney Channel? I don't know who the fuck this is.
Dare do because they're afraid of being caught. Name something people say they never dare do because they're afraid of being caught.
Smoking cigarettes.
Peeing.
Peeing. I would never pee. Ever. No siree. Gonna just hold it to my bladder. Just blows out the back of my back. Name a famous Oscar.
Titanic.
Okay. Okay.
We're sinking.
That big old Oscar to Titanic.
I think to a point, this show has become, it's become. Hold on, give me 1 second. Hasn't this show to at this point become just one of those ones where it's like maybe now it's for comedy now? It's not really the answers. Like, hell, are these answers even given correctly? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this even the case?
Oscar, name
Oh,
something
you know what I forgot? I forgot to change the stream name. It's all good.
a man might rub on his underwear to make him smell better.
Your hand.
Okay.
How many minutes?
Is this considered? Oh, this is considered copyright. I didn't know. We got a warning. Hold up. Let me turn it off then. I had no idea. I guess it makes sense. It's kind of a rehash.
Name something.
Let me turn it off really quick. Oh, we're just going to the next video. It's all good. We're not going to be able to stream. We're not streaming too long today anyway. I just want to pull some stuff up really quick.
Ridiculous jobs that no longer exist.
Let's do this.
In this day and age, we really take for granted just how quick and easy it is to be able to communicate. Back in the days of yore, not everyone was rolling around at the speed of sound. It could take several weeks to be able to relay critical information to your buddies, and a lot can change in just a few weeks. Nevertheless, delayed information was better than no information at all, and that's why highly trained long-distance messengers could make or break empires. First used thousands of years ago in ancient times, couriers were the best and fastest form of communication pretty much up until the invention of the telegraph in 1837. Sure, boats and trains made things a tad bit faster, but the principle was pretty much unchanged, physically transporting documents from point A to point B. The earliest and most sophisticated courier system of its time was that of the massive and girthy Achaemenid Empire, also known as, or at least considered to be, the First Persian Empire. They constructed the Angarium, a series of relay stations littered across the Royal Road, the main vein of the empire. This connected two major cities within the empire, Susa and Sardes. Can you deliver this message to Sardes? Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, where's her? Oh, also,
Sardes, no.
I knew he was gonna do that. I was trying to beat him to it, but it couldn't unpause the shit fast enough, or I couldn't pause the shit fast enough. Piece of shit. But nonetheless, bro, did y'all hear, bro? Did y'all hear about the documentary that's coming out for EDP? And this fucker participated in it? Dude, what a fucking moron, bro. What a fucking moron. What a fucking moron, man.
The Royal Road stretched across 1,700 miles of the empire's western half with patrolling guards and security stations at regular intervals, making it heavily secured. I mean, it kind of had to be. Messengers traveling down the road were carrying the orders from the Great King himself, so they were pretty important. Anyone severing or intercepting that line of communication could cause devastating effects. Also at regular intervals were checkpoints. These were relay stations that housed freshly charged horses as well as other messengers ready to pass things along down the line. This system of stations dropped delivery time from roughly 90 days on foot to just 7 to 9 days on horseback. But what if you didn't have horses? Well, we'd have to ask the Inca. Jump forward 2,000 years to the 1500s, and not much has changed in the ways of communication. In fact, one could argue that it was way worse.
That is crazy to think about. I didn't know they were doing it like that in the Inca tribe back then. I didn't know. I didn't know. But nonetheless, it is crazy to think like how drastic it is, how much faster it is to just take another form of transportation. 90 from walking to 7 to 9 days to about a week and some change on a horse. Bro, do y'all know how roided out a fucking horse is? Seriously. Have you guys ever spent the time to actually like analyze and look at like an actual healthy horse? Let's look at a healthy horse really quick. Let's look at a wild horse compared to a captive horse. Let's see. Let's see if we have anything good here. Let's see if we have anything good here. Let's see if we have. Let's see what we got here. Maybe that's not a good example. Maybe that's not a good example. Even of course they live longer. Yo, even then, you guys ever actually seen a wild horse in the wild? Talk about an animal so domesticated, it's crazy to see it in the wild. You know what I'm saying? Talk about an animal. You're just like, hell no. There's no fucking way. There's just no way. There's just no way that thing belongs. I can't find it. I'm
With
sorry.
no horses around,
terrible.
Incan runners instead relied on their
I've been looking this
piggies.
whole time.
Messengers of the king, called the Chasquis, were slim, fit, and ready to rip, carrying messages across the vast mountainsides of the Inca Empire. Unlike their Persian counterparts, the Inca didn't carry the messages in their pockets, but rather their noggins. And that's because the Inca did not have any formal written language. Wild, right? Instead, apart from some complex numerical systems involving tied knots of string, everything was spoken, so a strong memory was the key to getting the right message across. The Chasquis were tasked with relaying the king's orders to nearby provinces and military commanders. Tell the soldiers that they're doing a solid job and to keep up the great work. Yes, my king. The Inca, though, did rely on relay stations to always have a fresh pair of legs ready to deliver a message. According to Spanish chroniclers, that's a fun word to say, each station was about a half a league apart, but could be as far as a league and a half.
What's that?
That's over 5 miles, or for you metric fellas, over 832,000 centimeters. The stations were more or less weather-resistant small huts with other Chasquis standing about, ready to get a move on. Upon arriving, the first messenger would give the oral performance for his buddies, and then repeat the message that he came with. After memorizing the information, the next Chasqui sprinted up to 5 miles to the next station. Now keep in mind, this was the Inca Empire. It wasn't easily traversed flat road. It was pretty...
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. One slip, you're dead. Gone. Life's over. Ended. Say goodbye. To just fade within the background.
Pretty much uphill both ways, wobbly, cobbly stone roads 10,000 feet above sea level, on par with how our parents walk to and from school every day, or so they claim. The king said to slob his knob, and that Greg's a jerk. The fuck did I do? It's unfortunate that sometimes things get lost in translation, but remember the first rule of exchanging information. Never shoot the messenger.
Sin Eater.
Leave it to the English to come up with some spooky dooky hocus pocus type stuff.
Let me try to think what that could have been. Let me think about what a sin eater could have been. Well, sin, that's something spiritual. That's something spiritual, right? Then you have eater, that's something physical. If I see another fly. And then you have the combination sin eater, right? My thoughts of a sin eater is food that has been blessed or that has been told to be cursed is now eaten by that person or just tested, and then that food can now be given to the king, queen, or whoever, anybody of high royalty blood. Let's see.
If you're extremely poor and a social outcast with no lucrative or meaningful skills whatsoever, then the profession of sin eater might have been on the menu for you.
Blimey.
Historically, the job was performed throughout the early 17th century up until the 19th century, mostly in England, Scotland, and Wales. So just this area. As a sin eater, you were always on call for your services, as people have a tendency of kicking the bucket at any given time. So while you sat slapping mud around all day outside your thatched roof cottage, you could receive the news of a local death at the drop of a hat. Oh, he's dead. A relative or loved one would seek out your services almost immediately after the passing had passed. Once you were summoned, you'd pull up your britches and tween off screen to convene with the spiritually unclean. Arriving at the door, you politely knock before entering. You waddle inside to see your new customer and get to work. So your job as the local sin eater was to, as you could probably guess, eat the sins of the deceased as praying.
Okay. Okay. Let's rethink. Let's rethink about what we said. Eat the sins of your deceased. Don't we have a word for that, people? Cannibalism. Your Honor, I in fact was not eating my client was not eating that individual, as some might say, because eating is it's a very vague concept, you know. It's a very vague concept, you know. Sometimes you bite your own nails, you eat that, you know what I'm saying. We all eat our own skin at the end of the day, Your Honor. That happens. We all have tasted human flesh. So, and you sit here and you tell me my client is wrong for what he did? Do you not know, Your Honor, back then there was a job that was considered a sin eater? I know. Everybody hold your thing. My client was not eating that person. He was in fact eating their sins. That would be all, Your Honor.
And repentance apparently wasn't good enough. Now, the eating of the sins was of course symbolic in nature, but it was conducted in a literal fashion. The family of the dearly departed presented the sin eater with food, usually bread and beer. The food was placed on the chest or face of the individual right as they had passed away, supposedly sucking up all the bad juju as the soul floated to regions beyond. So now with the food being
I apologize, Your Honor. I spoke too soon.
Properly seasoned with a pinch of immorality and a dash of transgression, it was time to chow down. The basic idea of the whole ceremony was that you would effectively absolve the dead of any wrongdoings committed in life, allowing them a clean slate departure for the heavens as a certified good boy. Now you're probably not surprised to learn that this was far from a Michelin star dining experience. The bread was all stale and the beer was warm with a bunch of gross floaties in it. Perfect for the hipsters, but less than ideal for normal people. So after munching and crunching and glugging and chugging, you'd say a quick yet emotionally packed prayer. Rub-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Yay, God. Where's the shitter? Now with a proper sense of closure, you'd receive your paltry fee and be promptly vacated from the premises. So while your work of purifying one's soul was well appreciated, you were looked down upon, even outcasted. The belief was that you'd retain all of these absorbed sins, polluting your own soul in the process. That being the case, sin eaters were forced to live reclusive and isolated lives, being hated, ridiculed, and shunned by the locals. Until it was time to deep throat a sin or 12. It's not exactly clear how the tradition of sin eating was started. Some believe that it derives from the Jewish tradition of the scapegoat, a literal goat that was.
Let me go get some. I'll be right back. Let me go get some tea really quick. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. 1 second. it here. Okay. All right, sorry about that. 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 Sorry. I also have to get out too. I accidentally sprayed some of this, and I tilted it. The smell is toxic. It's toxic. You know, you can feel that shit in like a throat. And I sprayed it right near my desk, like right underneath. Fucking ridiculous, bro. Fucking ridiculous.
Imbued with all of the local sins and troubles, sent out into the wilderness and actively prodded off a cliff, taking all of the town's trials and tribulations with it. Atonement complete. Thanks, Mr. Goat. As for sin eating, it seems that the tradition was finally laid to rest in the beginning of the 20th century with the death of Richard Munslow, the last known sin eater in England. He reportedly was a humble and well-loved farmer who took on the job after the premature deaths of his children. Very sad. All in all, sin eating really was a self-sacrifice when you look at it, trading in any sense of social standing for a few pence. But hey, free bread and beer. If you thought your childhood was rough, imagine dipping, diving, ducking, and dodging your way through cannon fire while slugging a heavy sack of gunpowder on a ship in the middle of the ocean. That's what powder monkeys had to deal with almost on a daily basis. So while you may have been pissed at your mom for taking your Game Boy away for a few days,
powder monkeys? Let's be careful now. Let's be careful.
Powder monkeys were grateful if they even saw tomorrow. Back during the age of sail, naval warfare was a pretty common occurrence, ships just blasting big metal balls at each other in hopes of sinking the other guy faster or causing enough damage to warrant a surrender. In order to give yourself a fighting chance, you needed a well-trained, well-supplied crew who knew their way around cannons. Besides ammunition, the cannons needed a propellant to send those cannonballs barreling at the faces of the enemy. That propellant, of course, was gunpowder. In the heat of battle, every trained sailor needed to man their stations and execute their responsibilities in order to have a decent shot at survival. But one responsibility that didn't need much training outside of carry this shit and run over there was that of supplying powder to the cannoneers. Since there wasn't much to the job description, the task was given to young boys.
I'm sitting there thinking, right? I'm sitting there thinking, who the fuck manufactured cannons? Who is manufacturing cannons, bro? It's like one of those things where it's like, okay, you can see a blacksmith doing a you've seen a blacksmith doing a sword, some shield, some armor, right? You can see that. Who the fuck is manufacturing cannons? Think about that. Who's manufacturing cannonballs? Real shit. Real shit. Maybe it is blacksmith and and tailors. Who knows? Who knows, right? Obviously tailors, I understand they're the ones who do clothing. But who knows? Who knows? That's something I want to see. That's something I'm curious about. Who fucking built cannons back then? That's crazy. And the dude was shipping them. Somebody was shipping them. Or were they built in-house?
Boys, usually between the ages of 12 and 14.
Powder monkeys, man.
You see, back in this time, between the 16th and 19th centuries, people were just cranking out kids, especially the poor. Simultaneously, nature was just cranking out infectious and deadly diseases, and industry was cranking out fatal working conditions, both of which were promptly streamlining children into the orphanage pipeline. This, of course, caused orphanages to become overburdened, and they needed some relief. And where's the best place to put able-bodied youngsters just looking for any kind of future? The military, of course. European and eventually American navies were scooping up hundreds of impoverished chaps each year and dumping them on ships to take on the role of powder monkey, more often than not against their will. But the young lads were quicker, more agile, and physically smaller than their adult counterparts, making them perfect candidates for the job. During a battle, each boy would quickly carry at least 2 leather cases housing powder cartridges from the ship's powder magazine deep down in the hull, all the way up to the cannons. A dangerous job for sure, but a critical one for the success of this skirmish. Oi lad, bring me that very explosive powder, eh? And be quick about it. Yes sir, right away sir. That's a good lad. In exchange, the young fellows were clothed, fed, and given beds, even a little bit of education to fill their heads. The plan was to have the boys eventually become official full-time members of the Navy, assuming that they survived to adulthood. Yet despite the fact that they were a key part of the crew, they held no formal naval rank on the ships which they served. Now, while it was nice to have a place to call home, clothes on your back, and food in your belly, it of course came with these steep.
That boy looked like he aged at least a good 20 years, bro. That looked like a little young nigga for real. Little big, little. What would you call him? What would you call him? What do you call him? I don't know. I was trying to think of something. I was trying to think of something. I gotta figure it out.
Price of witnessing the horrors of war. Just to clarify,
You know that
I
boy
said that
keeps
powder
it.
monkeys were usually between the ages of 12 and 14. But in reality, some were much younger, with some documentation showing cases of children as young as 7 years old. These little guys were subjected to watching their fellow crewmen being blown to smithereens, impaled by split bits of ship, blinded by shrapnel, or having limbs ripped from rogue cannon fire. None of which they were immune to themselves, mind you. It wasn't until the end of the War of 1812 that formal regulations were put in place, preventing any recruitment of powder monkeys under the age of 12 from serving on ships in the United States.
Under the
The
age of
British
12.
followed in suit with an age limit of 13 for the role, though these age restrictions were still often ignored. The practice
They're men. They're boys, man. They're boys. Come on. They're 13. The young lads. They need to experience war.
did, however, fully die out in the mid-1800s once child labor laws were put in place and technology made the role obsolete. Sorry kids, looks like it's a big old box of PTSD for Christmas this year.
No, what it really is, that's less jobs. That's less jobs done, bro. Even then, the AI was taking over, bro. Even back then, that shit was coming, bro. We've been getting fucked our entire lives, man. That's another job. That's another missed job opportunity, in my eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Medieval medicine was wild. Physicians back then were really just throwing anything at the wall to see what stuck, which led to a bunch of strange medical practices that would, luckily, fall out of favor once modern medicine emerged. One such practice was that of uroscopy, the art and science of checking out your pee to determine your health. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't this still used in the modern day? Yes, but no. Urinalysis, as it's practiced today, uses chemical, physical, and microscopic analysis of urine samples to generate quantitative data for diagnosis. Uroscopy, on the other hand, well, it had dudes snooping, sniffing, and sipping your pee. Of urine samples to generate quantitative data for diagnosis. Uroscopy, on the other hand, well, it had dudes snooping, sniffing, and sipping your pee.
Wow. Okay. Lot to unpack there. That sounds fucking terrible. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be 100% real with you. That sounds fucking terrible. There's no ifs and buts about it.
Well, Doc? I need a second opinion. Now, you might be surprised to know that the practice of uroscopy has been around for thousands and thousands of years. The earliest known evidence that historians have dates all the way back to the 4th millennium BC, where some ancient Sumerian physicians took note of urinary color.
Bro, this is not language. This is nonsense. This is scribbles. And a child drew this, and we deciphered this as language. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start, bro. I didn't know where to start. I guess that's why I'm not. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here doing what I'm doing. That's why they're out there really, really discovering the mysteries of life. Okay. Wow. I want to try and understand it. I really do. I don't even know. Okay. This had to do with urine, bro. What? Penis. I don't know the duration. Color.
Perhaps the most profound early evidence that we have comes from the ancient Egyptians around 1550 BC. This is the Ebers Papyrus, a 65-foot-long medical scroll from ancient Egypt's New Kingdom era. This single document details over 800 diagnoses and remedies for all kinds of conditions ranging from skin problems, eye problems, burns, tumors, a limp, broken bones, backwards teeth, brown parasites, and of course, urinary conditions. The study and examination of urine continued for a while, but the formal occupation of uroscopist is believed to have been introduced between the 4th and 7th centuries in the Byzantine Empire, hitting its peak in the Middle Ages. According to medieval Welsh medical texts, it was believed that urine was the filtrate of the 4 humors: black bile, yellow bile, phlegm, and blood. Of course, we now know that your pee is the product of your kidneys filtering your blood and excess water, but hey, medical science was still a baby back then. Because of this theory, uroscopists believed that urine was the end-all be-all for determining a person's health status, and thus, it was the most important substance to study. The most telling quality of the urine was its color, so after collecting a fresh sample, a real fresh sample, the color was immediately observed. But a problem with qualitative analysis is that it's completely subjective, whereas quantitative is objective. When it comes to subjectivity, one PP doctor may interpret the same color differently than another. For objectivity, numbers are numbers. There's no argument.
There's motherfuckers out there who eat just straight horseradish. That shit's this don't stick, people. This don't stick. There's people out there that like eating just straight licorice. You're disgusting. You're disgusting. Yes, you should be burned at the stake. I do agree with that. What else we have? What other shit do we have, chat? What else do we have? What else do we have, man? Y'all have to tell me. What else do we have? Useless as always. I don't know.
In order to mitigate subjectivity and establish some sort of consistency, the piss percipients often constructed quick reference guides to use as a standard for diagnosis, sharing their knowledge across heavily detailed manuscripts. As an example, if your urine was clear, you might have some spleen issues. If it was dark red, your liver's too hot. Green, you've got jaundice. Black, well, wait, is black urine a thing? Oh God. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be doing too well if you're inking out your dink. While you had the visual aspect, uroscopists also ventured down the avenues of smell and taste to solidify the reasonings if a diagnosis couldn't be immediately deciphered from color alone. Urine that tasted sweet was evidence of diabetes, whereas stinky pee-pee usually meant infection. Now, while this may seem silly looking at it through a modern lens, there was some validity to the practice. Uroscopists were able to properly diagnose conditions like diabetes and jaundice through their practices. Diagnosis was great and all, but without proper and effective treatment, you're not going to be making much progress, except just being closer to the grave. It's like if someone tells you, hey, your car is broken, and then proceeds to offer no meaningful solution. At that point, they're just taking the piss.
Garden hermit? Okay, this don't sound too bad.
The ultra wealthy really love spending their money on stupid shit. They love it, in fact. When you've got more money than you could spend in 50 lifetimes, why not? Dumping the most expensive champagne on luxury watches, a fifth mansion on the beach, rigging elections, whatever tickles their sacks. But ostentatious spending is nothing new. You see, back in the 1700s, wealthy estate owners in England, Ireland, and Scotland were bored out of their skulls. I mean, think about it. The extent of dopamine rushes back then were what? Attending yet another opulent ball, hunting some wildlife, racing a horse or two, then putting them down when they don't win. And when you felt like a real degenerate, you had excessive gambling. But these frivolous
He must be talking about some weak shit, bro. Execution. I'm bored. Let's kill somebody today. That's what they were doing back then, my guy. None of this bullshit. None of this. Maybe this, but it wasn't to the extent that you said it is, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I'm going to be honest with you because we looking at things a little bit differently now. These people were executing off with her head, so she could not granteth me thy son nothing but thy weak and infidel women. That's what they were doing back then. Cut off her head. That's terrible. That's terrible. Gay parties probably too. Let's be real. Let's be real, people. A lot of those are probably happening too. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Activities got stale real quick. There needed to be something fresh, something grand, something right in your own backyard. That's when the idea of the English landscape gardens started to bloom, transforming sprawling grounds of estates into picturesque and serene scenes. Replacing the clear-cut and formal gardens of their French counterparts, English landscapes were to appear engineered by nature itself, with natural slopes, ponds, groupings of trees and flowers, a nice boulder or two, and organic decoration. These established wonderful getaways for owners and guests alike to retreat and get in touch with nature. But for some, all the stone and trees and grass just wasn't cutting it. Something was missing, something human. Like a person. Believe it or not, some wealthy fellas sought out to hire real-life people as decorations for their gardens. Take, for example, one Joseph Pocklington. Born in...
These are throwing me off, man. I'm thinking, this ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you might get pricked, but you were literally an object to somebody's garden. There's some shit you can only think of if you're rich, bro. I'm telling you, we as poors, yes, even if you're considered upper middle or you're considered upper class, us poors, okay? We can't think of this. We can't think of shit like this, bro. We can't. You don't even have to stand there. I just need you to be like an ornament in my thing, like a bug, like a what are those things called? What are those things called? What are they called? Chat, what are they called? Terrariums, like a terrarium. That's essentially what they said. That's essentially what's being done
to a wealthy banking family and receiving his inheritance at just 26 years old, his priority was to just spend the shit out of it. After all, what's the point of having money if you don't spend it? As my dad always tells me, you only live once, son. Enjoy it. Well, Mr. Pocklington over here made damn sure he was going to enjoy the life he was given. After purchasing his own private island on a lake, he commissioned the construction of his own armed fortress, a druid temple, and several natural grottos. In order to make the estate seem more lively, he advertised employment for a man to live in his garden, demanding that the man, quote, live for 7 years without washing or cutting his hair or nails. The man was to never speak or interact with any guests and would spend his lonely days in an artificial cave. The basic idea was for guests to observe a man in his most natural state, untouched by societal influence. If the man was able to carry out these conditions, he would be paid the equivalent of about $100,000 in today's money. Now that's spread over the whole 7 years, so it's not really that much. But the position was dubbed the Ornamental Garden.
I'm gonna be honest, that as psychopathic as that sounds, and not psychopath, as crazy as that sounds and out of touch, that's kind of cool, right? I feel like that's kind of a cool idea, you know what I'm saying? A bit insane, but at the same time, I gotta fuck with that idea, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of cool. I like it.
Hermits. Now get this, Pocklington was not the only fella to come up with this idea. Others employed their own hermits with much more lenient rules. Perhaps the most well-known example was the Hill family from Shropshire. Their botanical bro was dubbed Father Francis, and he fully interacted with guests, told stories, and dispensed his own wisdom, all while maintaining a mysterious yet comforting presence.
I want to see the hermit, mummy. I want to see the hermit.
The trend of the ornamental garden hermit lasted just over a century, finally being uprooted in the 1830s in favor of living statues. And to answer your question, no, garden gnomes were not inspired by the garden hermit. Those came from Germanic folklore, hundreds of years prior, but they'll still guard your garden as best they can.
You okay? Brody's process. Hold up, give me a second. I have one more. Hold up, guys. Hold up. Where's that? Just had it up. Here we go.
There are several antiques that
I wanted to see this. Not a big fan of the voice, but hey. Here we go. How you guys doing today, man? Hope you guys are doing good, boys. Boys and girls, hope you guys are doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. Okay. I just have to pull this thing up.
due to a combination of age, workmanship, and prestige, have been evaluated at insanely high prices.
Appreciate that guy just showing the
Today, I'll be
content.
taking a look at the top 15 most expensive antiques in the world. Number
Let's see if these are-
15, Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication. When it comes to high Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication. When it comes to high-value watches, the Henry Graves Super Complication is one of a kind. It was handcrafted in 1933. This 18-karat gold pocket watch has a grand total
shit look
of
nice, though.
24 complications and was made specifically
what
for
that means.
banker Henry Graves Jr. He paid top dollar for the watch at the time, spending a hefty sum of $15,000 when he commissioned it in 1925. For
That's a
reference,
lot.
when adjusted for inflation, that
Fucking
amounts to a cool $220,000. Yet the watch has become even more well appreciated with time, as when it was put up for auction in 2014, it sold for an inflation-adjusted price of over $26 million.
Holy shit, bro.
Number 14, the 18th century Botang Saber. Of all the legendary swords to have been put up for auction, it's an 18th century Botang Saber that takes the cake for being the most expensive of them all. That's because while it may not sound all that impressive, it turns out that it may have been the personal sword of the Chinese Emperor Qianlong. Now, while the specifics are not 100% clear, it's believed to have been forged sometimes between 1736 and 1795. It's not only outfitted with a jade handle, but also has an ornate blade that's decorated with inlaid gold, copper, and silver. So, due to its high quality and age, it sold for an impressive sum of $7.7 million back in 2008.
Holy shit. That's
Number
recent.
13, the
Enough.
sickle leaf
Recent
carpet.
enough.
A high-quality Persian carpet can easily
What
set
is
your
a tornado coming? Tornado watch. Oh, fuck out of here, bro. You know, fucking tornado, bro.
back a few $1,000s, but antique rugs made using expert craftsmanship techniques can easily make far more than their modern counterparts. Such was the case with a rug from William Andrews Clark's estate, which, while estimated to go for somewhere between $5 to $7 million, ended up coming in at a ridiculously high sum of $33.7 million. Known
Okay, I can understand you want to buy an expensive watch. Cool. I can understand the value in that. Okay, you might want to buy a nice little expensive sword. Hey, even dope. Why the fuck is this rug something that's gonna get stepped on? Stepped on, Kent. Gotta mute my shit. Mute my shit. Why the fuck are we selling this?
as a sickle leaf, vine scroll, and palmette vase technique carpet. It's the only known vase technique rug with a red background on the entire planet. It likely came from the city of Kirman in southeast Iran and was probably the entire
I wasn't
carpet.
listening.
It's the only known vase technique vine scroll and palmette vase technique carpet. It's the only known vase technique rug with a red background on the entire planet. It likely came from the city of Kirman in southeast Iran and was probably created sometime during the 17th century. So it should come as little surprise that this carpet was so highly sought after. Number 12. Chippendale-style Kentucky desk. When it comes to antique furniture, the United States is known.
Another thing is too, I'm not having any of this weird old shit in my house. I'm gonna be real with you. Hell no. This stuff right here is old as fuck. You know what I'm saying? This shit is old.
For
This
its
shit is
top-of-the-line
old.
specimens. And while record-breaking pieces tend to come from the northeastern states such as Rhode Island, New York, or Pennsylvania,
Look at my
in
dog.
late 2017
Don't
was
like
an
me very
antique
much.
desk made in Kentucky that took the
you, buddy?
spotlight at auction when it sold
You
for an
like me?
astoundingly high price tag of nearly
boy?
$500,000.
Okay.
The elaborately carved
That shit
Chippendale
looks
style
haunted.
desk made out of walnut wood was
Why
built
that shit
for
like
Captain
Maserati on
John
the front?
Cowan by an unknown maker. But due to its craftsmanship, it netted a price that made it the highest price ever paid at auction for a piece of Kentucky furniture, and the second highest for a piece of Southern furniture. As such, if you have any well-crafted antique furniture at home, you may just want to get it appraised at one point or another.
No, I don't.
Number 11. Pinner Qing Dynasty Vase. When it comes to expensive Chinese pottery, few pieces come anywhere close to the Pinner Qing Dynasty vase. Coming in at 41 centimeters in height,
Damn.
it was made sometime between 1735 and 1796, and in all likelihood
nice,
it was
though.
specially designed for one of the imperial palaces.
That shit's nice.
Ovoid in shape and predominantly
That shit's
pastel
nice.
yellow and sky blue
Bro,
in
how
color,
the fuck?
it stands
Bro, y'all
apart
ever
for
seen
its
how
narrow
pottery
neck.
gets made? How the hell was he creating intricate designs like this? To just, bro, the time, I'm telling you, bro, it probably took his whole life to consider, to even remotely think of something like this. His whole life. That's the difference, bro. That's one thing people don't understand, man. Is the straight up fact that bro, my boy was that's a lifetime. That's a lifetime's of work right there, you know what I'm saying? He would not be able to have built that if he wasn't doing this shit his entire life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Four enameled circular motifs that show colorful fish and flowers, and elaborate perforations in the outer vase that help form a smaller vase inside. Likely brought to England during the plundering of the Second Opium War, it was initially listed at a 2010 auction for a relatively modest $800,000. But after a half hour of intense bidding, the final price was an astounding $69.5 million, with the total coming out to $85.9 million once all taxes and fees were paid. While the bidder remained anonymous, he is known to have hailed from mainland China, and as such, this antique is now back in its country of origin. Number 10. The Codex Leicester.
I don't know what
Let's
the fuck
face
this
it,
is.
while most antiques are interesting, it's only in
No.
exceptional cases that
No.
they have any real impact on the planet at large, as they are generally just cool collectibles rather than world-changing pieces. However, the Codex Leicester goes against this general rule. That's because it's a collection of scientific writings by Leonardo da Vinci that gives insights on his findings and beliefs on topics such as astronomy, the properties of water, rocks, fossils, air, and celestial light. Some of these insights were quite interesting, as in the Codex, Da Vinci
Yeah, I'm
speaks
telling you,
his
just
mind on
geniuses,
why he
bro.
believed
Geniuses.
fossils of sea creatures can be found on mountains, and why the moon is so bright. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that this makes the Codex Leicester of immense scientific value. And in recognition of this, Bill Gates
gotta be
bought it
sold.
at an auction
Keep
in
that-
1994 for a
What am I doing?
staggering $30.8
I'll bet
million,
no.
or the equivalent of about $54 million today. And while this price tag is certainly high, in a way, we can understand why he paid so much. Number 9.
No, we're not. We don't know that. We don't understand why he paid that much. The truth of the matter is, bro, I didn't even think something like that could be sold for. I guess because it doesn't really now, like, I guess because a lot of it might just be not true. I don't know. Like, you know, obviously there's things that have value to them, but that's like the Mona Lisa. That has value, but it can't be sold, you know, to a normal auction, you know, within a normal auction, you know what I'm saying?
Fabergé egg. While
This is an interesting one. I never understood the like around Fabergé eggs. Are they nice? Absolutely. But I never understood what was the big value behind them. I feel like there were so many different. Where did my dog go? Hold up. I'm not like. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? He got like a little hidey spot behind my thing. But like the idea behind Fabergé eggs, like, what? I don't know. Let's see if he brings it up.
dazzled Easter eggs may not seem like something that would be highly sought after. Fabergé eggs prove that that's not the case. You see, Fabergé eggs are essentially a collection of egg-shaped jewels that were created for the Russian royal family by Peter Carl Fabergé between 1885 and 1917.
Damn, that is
And
nice,
while
though.
69 were created in total, his most
Holy
famous
shit.
were his 52 imperial eggs, of which about 46 survive today. These eggs were made directly for the Russian royal family, and it's mostly because of
Holy
this that
shit.
they
I'm
are
not
of
gonna lie, those
great
are nice.
value. While
Those are
most
nice.
of the most valuable ones have carefully been tracked down over the past 125 odd years, one of the oldest was actually discovered thanks to a random Google search in 2012. Considered to be the third imperial Fabergé egg, it was created between 1886 and 87.
Holy shit,
It
that
features
is so
plenty of
fucking
jewels
nice.
and yellow gold ridges along with its original tripod pedestal. It also has a Vacheron Constantin ladies' watch inside, which gives the egg an extra bit of flair. So, given the quality and rarity of this one, it was able to sell for $33 million back
Really?
in 2014.
That's so less than the fucking than the carbon.
Number 8. Elizabeth Taylor's La Peregrina Pearl Necklace. Cartier
better
is
not be
known
more
for
than
being one of
under
the
10 million.
world's
That shit better
elite
be
jewelry
under.
makers, and so it should come as no surprise that they have created a pearl necklace that's made it into the record books. Now, the story of the necklace began in the 16th century, when the La Peregrina pearl was found off the coast of Panama. It was then turned over to Panamanian colonial administrator Don Pedro de Temez, who then gifted it to the future king Philip II of Spain. From there, it made its way to England as a bridal gift to Queen Mary I of England, was later returned to the Kingdom of Spain, then taken by Napoleon's brother and brought to France, then brought back to England as a gift for a duchess. It was then kept by this duchess until 1969, when her heirs decided to auction off the pearl at a Sotheby's auction. It was here that it was bought by the Hollywood royalty and wealthy romantic Richard Burton for a relatively low price of $37,000. Converted into a new necklace and then enjoyed until 2011 when it was re-auctioned for a staggering $11 million.
I was close.
La
I was close.
Peregrina pearl is easily one of the most expensive pearls in world history.
I was close. I was close.
Number 7. The 1794 flowing hair silver.
If I had to guess this one, this shit might be expensive. This shit might be expensive. Think, work with me now. Work with me now, chat. Work with me now, chat. Work with me now. In my head, I'm getting 54 up. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. 54 up. Let's see.
American coins typically are some of the most expensive collectibles out there, yet none quite match the rarity of the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. Often referred to as the holy grail of all dollars, it was among the first coins ever minted by the United States government. And while a total of 1,758 silver dollars were created as a part of an inaugural batch of October 1794, less than 130 are believed to be still around today. It's been considered to be a highly valued coin ever since the early days of coin collecting, with a September 1880 issue of the Coin Journal even noting that a good quality specimen of the 1794 dollar was valued at $50, which would be the modern equivalent of about $1,300 today. With that in mind, the coin is worth even more today. Now, while some have sold for prices under $1 million, a perfect specimen is one of the most sought-after coins in that industry. When a near-perfect specimen was put up for auction in 2013, it was able to fetch a price tag just north of $10 million, making it the most expensive coin ever sold.
Why was
So
that
yeah, I
fucking
think it's fair
carpet
to
so
say that
much
that
then?
coin is
What
truly
the
outstanding.
fuck? Dude, what the hell are we doing here,
Number
people?
6. The 1963 Ferrari 250 GTO.
30 million.
While
30
there are
million
plenty
under.
of expensive collector cars out there, none are quite as sought after as the 1963 Ferrari 250 GTO. Created in order to outperform
Whoa, I realize how fucking crazy that is. What, I think, what is, like, 200,000 for a normal Ferrari today? Or is it like $500,000? Let me see what the price of the land. How much is a Bugatti? $3 million? Yeah, fuck no. This shit gotta be at least 350 under.
Contemporaries such as the Shelby Cobra, the Jaguar E-Type, and the Aston Martin DP214, it performed very well on the racetrack, but in recent years has become extremely collectible due to its unique design and low supply. After all, only 36 of them were ever created, and so to find one on the market today is next to impossible. When a German collector made it clear that he was intending to sell his in 2017, David McNeil, who was the founder of the car floor mat manufacturer WeatherTech, snatched it up for a record fee of $70 million. And while that may sound
Whoa! Bro, I was close the first time. I'm not even gonna lie, gut didn't feel it compared to the other ones. Those were two just that popped into my head. What the fuck? Nah, I didn't hear him right.
David McNeil, who was the founder of the car floor mat manufacturer WeatherTech, snatched it up for a record fee of $70 million. And while that may sound crazy, his 250 GTO was worth a bit of a premium since it won the 1964 Tour de France and came in fourth at Le Mans, making it an athlete of sorts in the world of sports cars. In any case, owning the GTO now puts McNeil in an exclusive GTA owning club, manned by the likes of Ralph Lauren, fashion mogul Lawrence Stroll, and Walmart heir Rob Walton. So, while the $70 million price tag was pretty crazy, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets topped the next time one gets put up for sale.
Bro, what
Number
the
5,
fuck?
the Ru Guanyao Brush Washer Bowl.
That
At
shit
first
better.
glance, the Ru
People, I'm telling you, this shit better only be a couple $100,000. I'm gonna accept $2 million.
Guanyao Brush Washer Bowl isn't anything to write home about. After all, it's a simple ceramic bowl that comes in at just 13 centimeters in diameter. And while its turquoise coloring is certainly pretty, it doesn't seem worthy of commanding a massive price tag. However, Ru Guanyao ceramics are a little bit different than your average China shop bowl. You see, the bowl was commissioned by China's late northern Song dynasty from the most notable of the 5 great kilns. Since this kiln was only in operation for about 20 years, its wares are considered to be extremely valuable, and to date, only 4 Ru ceramics are known to be in private hands. In terms of characteristics, the brush washer is of prominent provenance, as it came from the Chang Foundation collection in Taipei's Hongxi
Could you
Museum.
imagine being a servant to one of these people? Today, mind you. Like a housemaid or something like that, you drop that motherfucker, or it just slightly drops, and you just hear it go ding, 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 ding. Off with your arms, your head, you're getting everything's
Beyond
getting
its
done.
origins, it also has some top-notch characteristics, including a turquoise glaze with a pattern resembling ice crackles, classic proportions, and 3 sesame seed depressions that the brush washer rests upon. When it became the first Ru-style ceramic to be put up for auction since 1940 at Sotheby's in Hong Kong, collectors jumped at the opportunity. Considered to be highly important and extremely rare in the auction catalog, the attendees at the auction seemed to agree, as after a 20-minute bidding battle, the small vessel brought in the equivalent of $37.6 million. And while Sotheby's didn't reveal the identity of the bidder for privacy's sake, I'm sure that it was someone who's obscenely wealthy.
For the rest of my life.
Number 4, an antique Rochard doll. To many people, antique dolls are more creepy than they are valuable. After all, their super pale skin, strange outfits, and cold, soulless eyes are enough to send shivers down the spines of children and adults alike. Although this doesn't stop them from going for high prices at auction. When it comes to pure cost, one antique doll that will cost you a pretty penny to acquire is what's become known as the Rochard doll. Symbolizing the golden age of French dolls, this Rochard piece has a lot of unique features that would be near impossible to find anywhere else. For example, the doll has parted rather than closed lips, which was a rarity at the time. And if you look inside the doll's parted mouth, you actually see a kaleidoscope effect. The Rochard doll's necklace also has a collection of 28 Stanhope gems, with 24 of them having microphotographs inside of them, with super tiny images of both the city of Paris and Europe at large.
Oh my god, that's kind
The
of
incredible thing about these photographs is, despite being just 1 millimeter wide, when held closely to the eye, each is magnified 160 times, making them truly incredible. Additionally, there are believed to be only 6 or 7 of these types of dolls in existence. And so when this piece went up for auction in January of 2018, it sold for an incredible $333,000.
Oh my god.
However, what's nice about this purchase is that rather than stay locked up in a private collection, this doll is now on display for the public. That's because after it was purchased, it was brought to the Barry Art Museum at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, which is where it now resides alongside many other dolls. This Rochard doll is truly an incredibly valuable antique. Number 3. 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card. The card that stands alone as the most expensive card ever is a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card. Now, for those of you who are not a baseball fan, Mickey Mantle is perhaps one of the most famous baseball players of all time. A switch hitter for the Yankees from 1951 until 1968, he had a total of 16 All-Star appearances, 7 World Series titles, and 3 MVP awards. And so when the baseball card company Topps first entered the business in 1952, rookie Mickey Mantle was one of their most popular cards. And while there are several Mickey Mantle cards out there, a PSA 9 edition that sold for $5.2 million in November of 2020 stands apart for being the most expensive of all time. One of only 6 PSA 9 renditions of this card in existence, it was bought by Rob Goff, who is an entrepreneur and the owner of Dope, which is a streetwear and lifestyle brand that also sells CBD products. When asked by the media about his purchase, he responded that, quote, "I've dreamed of owning a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle since I was a kid collecting cards. It's the Mona Lisa of sports cards, and I've been searching for this high-graded example. I'm ecstatic that I'm now the proud owner of this iconic card." End quote. Yet while this may be the most expensive Mickey Mantle card ever sold, there are reportedly some private collectors who are in possession of PSA 10 editions. Due to there being just 3 in existence, they've reportedly been offered as much as $20 million for just one card. Yet even at that price point, they refuse to sell. However, the card market continues to heat up, and I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually get an offer that they can't refuse.
Holy shit.
Number 2. The Hope Diamond. While there are plenty of valuable jewels out there, none are estimated to be worth quite as much as the Hope Diamond. First mined in India, it supposedly began its life as the eye of a statue in a Hindu temple. However, it was stolen from this temple by a French merchant, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, in 1666. And upon discovering this, the temple priests reportedly put a curse on the owner of the diamond. Tavernier was the first to succumb to it, as he apparently died of a raging fever and had his body eaten by a pack of wolves soon after returning to France with the diamond. From there, the curse passed on to its next owner, who was none other than King Louis XVI of France. As you probably know, his head was chopped off during the French Revolution, and after, the gem was transferred to Princess Marie-Louise. She was also brutally murdered. At this point, the gem left France and came into the hands of a Dutch jeweler by the name of Wilhelm Fals, who committed suicide soon after. Then Simon Montorides of Greece, but soon died after accidentally driving off a cliff. Then finally, Evelyn Walsh McLean inherited it, but then had her 9-year-old son and 25-year-old daughter die soon after in a tragic circumstance. After all of this misery, it should come as no surprise that no one wanted to own it, and the Hope Diamond was passed into the non-private hands of the Smithsonian Museum. Yet even there, it's continued to torment its caretakers, with the man who simply delivered it to the museum going on to receive a major leg injury in an accident, sustain a head injury in another, and have his house burned down in a fire. So while it's been valued at a whopping $350 million, I wouldn't take it even if it was free. Number 1. The British Guiana 1-cent magenta. Stamps aren't exactly the most exciting collectibles out there, yet the truth of the matter is that there are some that are insanely expensive. Yet the one that reigns supreme in terms of cost is the British Guiana 1-cent magenta, and despite being relatively plain, it sold for a ridiculously high $9.4 million in 2014. How did it command such an astounding price? Well, the story of the stamp begins all the way back in 1856, when a postmaster in British Guiana ran out of stamps. Since he needed new stamps, he asked a local newspaper to print an emergency set in order to hold him over. Among them was the British Guiana 1-cent magenta, and while there was originally a small set of them printed, it's the only one that's still known to exist today. Now, this stamp was first rediscovered by a 12-year-old boy in 1873, who after not being able to find a reference to the stamp in his catalog, sold it for 6 shillings, which would be worth about $50 today. From that point on, it bounced from owner to owner until it landed into a collection of American stamp collector John E. DuPont, who snapped it up for $935,000 back in 1980. However, when he died in 2010, the stamp was prepared to be put up for auction, where it was sold for its incredible $9.4 million price tag. Given that it weighs just 0.04 grams, this makes it one of the most valuable collectibles in the world by weight. Now, what's interesting about stamp collections is that unlike some other collectibles, they are widely considered to be a very safe investment. After all, 2 researchers have found that the annualized return on stamps comes in at about 7% in nominal terms and 2.9% in real terms, making them comparable to the returns on art investments and only a little bit shy of the average returns of the S&P 500. Yet despite this, the quantity of stamp collectors has declined in recent years, and thus the market for these tiny pieces of paper may dry up sooner rather than later. Watch our binge-watching playlist if you'd like to watch all of our most popular top 15 videos. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready to binge.
Fucking beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys watching. Sorry I'm in the stream today earlier today. I started late as fuck. That's my fault. You know, that's my fault. Not seriously. I'm gonna try and start I'm gonna trying to start a little bit earlier tomorrow. I'm gonna at least try. I'm gonna try. If I don't, that's my fault. Again, as always, it's my fault as always. But nonetheless, hope you guys have a good night, man. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. Hope you guys do good, eat good, sleep good, be good, play good, smell good, feel good, cook good. I don't know. Nonetheless, hope you guys have a great day, man. Freaking love you guys. Stay good. Stay fresh. In fact, stay clean. Stay crisp. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully we actually have some ideas that we can actually watch tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning what can't be done and what can be done. Okay. Seriously. Love you guys, though. Take care, man. See you guys tomorrow.